was remembering that when I was a kid, if you said a bad word, there was a certain punishment that was threatened, if not occasionally executed, that being washing your mouth out with soap. Exactly. You guys ever heard of that? No? Probably a good thing. I think the mouth soap industry has taken a hit in recent decades. I was thinking of this, of course, with our readings today, that kind of link our speech, kind of what comes out of our mouth, with what is in our heart. You know, the things that we say kind of let people know kind of what's deep within us, whether good or not so good. And also the inverse is also true, that the things that we say, whether good or not so good, continue to shape and condition our own hearts. So there's this link between our speech and what is in our heart. I think the challenging part of the reading today is maybe we have to admit that maybe our speech isn't always so good sometimes. You know, we want to bear, good fruit, but maybe we get caught up sometimes in speech that's not so good, whether it is cursing, whether it's telling lies, whether it's grumbling or complaining, whether it's criticizing, talking smack about people, whether it's so many ways, right, that we can have to admit that sometimes we get caught up in dumb stuff with the things that we say. I think part of the gospel, the good news of our scriptures today is that the Lord, of course, wants more, has more in store for us than just the dumb stuff we get caught up in. I think the secret to that is not just, as it were, kind of washing our mouth out with soap, kind of a simple, cutting down of what comes out, but to go deeper, to get to that level of the heart and in our mind. Because maybe the things that just sort of come out of us in speech are a result of things that are deep within us. Maybe it's a result of a hurt that we've faced. Maybe it's excessive pride. Maybe it's bitterness, resentment, lack of forgiveness. Maybe there's a fear there deep within us. Maybe there's an insecurity. And all that just kind of can't help but bubble out sometimes in all sorts of ways. Of course, the Lord wants to bring healing to those places in the depths of our hearts and in our minds. So it's good for us to have clear sight of what those things might be. So we know where we need to invite the Lord to work in our lives. I think a part of this is holding firm to our relationship with the Lord and having our lives truly centered on the Lord. It's hard sometimes, right, when we're just going about the day-to-day stuff. But I actually think our psalm provides some good insight. What's the first verse that we heard? Lord, it is good to give you thanks and to praise your name and to proclaim your goodness and your faithfulness. So to remember all the good that God has done and is doing in our lives, to be people of thanks and praise to God, that I think helps orient us in a good way and really roots us in God's love for us. I think that's part of that, bringing healing to our lives. And then by the grace of God, He can transform our minds and hearts so that we do bear more good fruit. So that we can, by the grace of God, take things like grumbling and complaining and turn them into gratitude. We can take things like criticism and turn it into encouragement. Even though sometimes we do need to challenge people in love. Maybe we can take things like gossip and turn that into honoring of those around us. We all know we need the help of God to do that. So we're grateful that we're able to come here today to really know the depths of God's love for us and His desire to enter into a holy communion with Him so that His life can truly be lived in and through our lives. So as we encounter Christ here in the Mass today, let's be asking in a special way for that grace to truly have the Lord be who pours into us and fills up our store, so that we can also then have the Lord be who we proclaim and pour out in and through our lives.